This is the Conscious Radio Network.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be on this spaceship we call Earth. Welcome to Conscious Radio Network's live weekly podcast series, The Weekly Seance. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Paul Mekas. If this is your first time tuning in, please click subscribe, like, share, and comment. You can also listen to this series on Libsyn, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Podcast, and soon Apple Podcast. Tonight, we have, let me see, here's my notes. A certified Corby Mitleid, a certified tarot master, psychic medium, teacher, and ordained minister. Corby has been reading for 50 years and is a full-time intuitive counselor with clients worldwide. Robert Schwartz featured her work as a channel and past life expert in his breakthrough series on karma and pre-birth planning, your soul's plan, your soul's gift, and your soul's love. As an author, her self-help volume, Clean Out Your Life Closet, encourages you to write your own story of change based on your history, your life experiences, your personal goals. Her books, The Psychic, Yellow Brick Road, and You've Got the Magic, Who Needs a Genie, deal with how to use psychic counseling wisely and be a successful part of the Holistic Expo community. From a professional side of the aisle, Corby's abilities include tarot and oracle card readings, spiritual, intuitive counseling, past life retrieval and analysis, mediumship, and spirit guide conferences include speaking with one's soul or higher self. Let's introduce tonight Corby Mitleid. Welcome, Corby. How do you doing?
It's good to be here.
You are very welcome. You are very welcome. And it's an honor. I've seen some of your work and
have you?
Yeah. And I threw that information. I'm looking for a guest on the one of those open source things on Facebook, and there you were. So let's let me go here. So there's you gave me a lot of notes. Wow. Okay, simple question. So this explain, how did this all start for you? How did this journey start?
Oh, that's the 30-second elevator speech. When I was 9, I read a book called The Witch Family by Eleanor Estes, and I went, ooh, there's magic in the world. I want to go find it.
Yeah.
Fast forward to 1973 when I was a senior in high school. And yes, my darlings, that does tell you how old I am. That was when I was working part-time at Spencer Gifts. They had the James Bond 007 tarot deck.
Ooh.
And I bought it because we were all hippies then. I had my elephant bell bottoms, the fringe jacket, and the decks. 5 years later, everybody else had moved on to roller skates and disco balls. Me, I was still reading the cards because I loved them. I loved what they talked about. So for 20 years, I read for friends, making sure that I would keep the messages clear and my ego on the shelf.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, in the early 90s, I could do hands-on healing and talk to dead people with no training. That's when the universe handed me my draft notice and said, hello, you're working for us. So I did it part-time. Meanwhile, a very checkered career: actress, author, inspirational speaker, video producer, legal assistant, executive recruiter, writer for the graphic novel series ElfQuest, until 9/11, when I watched the towers burn and I turned to my husband and I said, I need to do the work full-time. People need to know there are other answers out there. He said, I believe in you, go do it. One more year balancing it with corporate. In 2002, I shut the door in corporate and I've never looked back. Now I work 6 days a week, read about 1,000 people a year, and I get to get up every morning. I don't have to get up every morning. That's key.
Yeah. And how many? I said about 1,000 readings per year.
A year. Yeah.
Wow. Now this the book. I lost my notes again. The Yellow Brick Road.
Psychic Yellow Brick Road.
Psychic Yellow Brick Road. When did you start writing it? There it is. When did you start writing that?
Well, the key really is the subtitle, which is How to Find the Real Wizards and Avoid the Flying Monkeys. About 18 years
I like
ago,
that one.
when I was doing a big show up in Toronto, 250 booths. Now, even the best promoters can't vet everybody at something that size. So I had my booth, and across the way was the fake gypsy. We all know
Yeah.
who they are. And there was someone who was part of the audience. They were walking, looking at all the booths, and the fake gypsy comes running out and grabs her arm. Now, that's called hooking, and it's as bad as the other kind of hooking.
Yeah.
But she says, oh, you no need to pay 30, 40, $50. I do jump on for 10. Come. Drags her behind a screen. 20 minutes later, a bunch of us see the woman leaving, crying hysterically. We all run over to see what happened. Typical. Oh, you have a family curse. How many in your family? 4? You have dog? $50 every family member, 25 for a dog. He's small. We fix.
Wow.
And she told the woman if she didn't burn 400 specially blessed candles at the Roman Catholic Church, I bless real good, only $1 candle. Her entire family was going to die in a car accident in 2 weeks, and she bought it. And,
Wow.
that's my hot button. So I wrote a book not for psychic development. Kids, there are 6,972 books out there on that already. But there isn't a book like this.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to an art museum and you love sculpture, you enjoy it, but that doesn't mean you want to come home with a block of marble and a chisel and find the camel inside.
Yeah.
Same thing here. If you want to use intuitive counseling, if you enjoy having that kind of help in your life, great. But it doesn't teach you how to be a psychic. It teaches you what questions to ask, which ones not to ask, what the best readings are like, how to run if you're being used.
Yeah.
It keeps you safe. And I don't care if you never come to me after you've read that book. It will work for you for any psychic you go to.
Yeah. It's kind of the litmus test for people
Very
out there
much.
that are, I wouldn't say skeptical. Now, here's the thing is, how many skeptics? This would also be a kind of a skeptics guide as well, wouldn't it?
It is. I love skeptics because they're not what I call cosmic muffins. They take everything we say as gospel. No.
Yeah.
For one thing, even the best of us are only 85% accurate. The only one 100% accurate is God, and he doesn't have a booth at the psychic fair this week, kids. He doesn't.
Yeah.
So this teaches people how to use their own brains, learn to trust their own gut about the information they're getting, how to make it useful, how to get rid of what doesn't work for them, and how to avoid the scam artists.
Yeah. And I think it's very important, especially nowadays. A lot of people come to me, or even not necessarily to watch the show. I mean, that's the thing. That's what this show's all about. It's to educate people, learn who they are. But because of today, this new era that we're in, it seems like there's more and more people trying to seek psychic advice, mediumship, astrology. They're getting into the metaphysical arts.
Oh.
And
you got to be careful, because a lot of people say, well, yeah, I read cards in like high school, and I'm retired now. I'm going to make a little extra money on the side, so I'm going to start reading for people. Like, no, they are what I call bottom feeders.
Yeah.
The good intuitives, and they don't have to be doing it as long as I do. They don't. But they understand the tools they use. They understand which ones are appropriate for your questions. They help empower you, not take away your power.
Yeah. As a quick bite on as far as power, and that's I teach about trying to regain your power at a metaphysical aspect. What is your suggestion? A word to the listeners and viewers. Something in the book that, as far as regaining their power, standing up for themselves and standing their ground.
One of the things I teach people is when a reading doesn't work, you have every right to say, excuse me, Madam Hoo-Ha, but all the stuff you're giving me is factually incorrect. We're not connecting. Can I have my money back, please? You know, now if I give you a spirit guide you don't know, or a past life you don't know, you're just going to have to trust me on that. But if you are 65 years old and you've never had children.
Oh, I just lost her. What happened? Uh-oh. First time this has happened during the show. Hopefully she gets back on. Yeah, we just lost her. Maybe her internet went out. Hopefully she's back. Anywho, until Corby comes back, we are talking about her book, The Psychic Yellow Brick Road, How to Find the Real Wizards and Avoid the Flying Monkeys. But we were just briefly discussing what its takeaways. This is not a book about development, psychic or mediumship or that type of development. This is mainly about how to seek the right medium, how to stay away from the charlatans. Ah, there she is. Aha.
It went disconnect. I'm not sure why. Anyway, so where was I before I blipped?
Almost like a cell phone call.
Yeah, I know. So where was I, Paul? Do you remember?
We were doing a general takeaway on how for people teaching people how to stand their ground. What's one of the main takeaways from this book as far as regaining someone's power?
If it is sitting with a psychic who is wrong, you just get up and say, we're not connecting. Mm-hmm. A good intuitive is going to give you your money back. But even if they don't, just leave.
Yeah.
You are not cursed. They cannot follow you. That's all stuff to get you hooked in. All right. The best of us are going to say, here are your opportunities and how to grab them. Here's the tough stuff. Here's how to get through it or around it. Here's your toolbox to rock and roll. We are the ones who hand you your toolbox. We are not your repairman.
Yeah.
That's the difference. You come to us to find out how to make your life better. Not we're going to do it. You do it.
Yeah. And that is very, very important. And thank you for explaining this and giving us this this information on this show. I think this is the first time that we've had, that type of advice thus far. And I don't hear very rarely do I hear people in the field talk about that or even discuss that. We got to be transparent. And
Paul, I'll be honest. I am not your typical psychic medium. Mm-hmm. I'm not. For one thing, I'm not what I call glurpy purple with angels. We all know those. Hi, I'm Little Dancing Raccoon, and here's my spirit guide, Arctic Bear. Yeah. No, that makes me want to vomit. I'm sorry. I'm a New Yorker. I will hit you upside the head with a glue brick. You will laugh, but that's how I do it. I'm very practical, and I'm very fast. I downsell myself. I don't upsell myself. Yes, I have one particular reading that is $600 freaking dollars. Do you know why? Because I spend 14 hours in deep trance meditation, getting your past lives and talking to your higher self and doing detailed numerology comparisons with whatever 2 or 3 people we're talking about before you and I are on the phone for an hour.
Oh, wow.
When you think of it that way, it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
But I'm toast the next day. Those are hard on me. Yeah. So I only do like 2 a month.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I have your general readings, which are house card, job, kids, finances. Okay, God, you put me here. What the hell? Romance readings, because everybody does Bruce love me. Mm-hmm. I also have consultations. Create your sentence of passion. Do not ask a psychic what's your purpose. That's not our business. We have not lived your life. We have not dealt with your problems. We have not had your path. But create your sentence of passion helps you find out what your patterns are and what it's your vapor trail. What do you want to tell God you did when you go skidding into heaven on bald tires and fumes in the tank and he hands you a beer and says, so? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My own sentence of passion is cross the bridge from fear to fearlessness and fly. When I could take somebody who went from point A to point B after they thought they couldn't make it, I'm living my bliss. I'm doing the right stuff.
Yeah. And yet, like you said earlier, learning the or not, I wouldn't say learning the questions, but knowing what questions to ask. Because I hear some really, really stupid off the wall questions. And like you said, it's like, what's my purpose? That's being one of them. It's like, I don't know. We all have a different journey. I'm not supposed to know that.
The other
And
thing,
I don't want to know that.
and there's some questions you shouldn't ask also.
Yeah.
Psychics who have read this book, they laugh and they say, God, I wish I had this when I was just starting.
Yeah.
Because we've all gotten things like this. Does Bruce think about me? No. Has he ever thought about me? Not the way you want. If I do such and such, will he think about me? No. Is he going to call soon? He isn't. Well, if he isn't going to call soon, will he call later? And they keep beating on you until you finally go, yes, he loves you and he wants 7 babies with you, but he just doesn't know it yet. Oh, good. I thought so. Don't do this. Or the pity party types.
Yeah.
My supervisor at work is mean to me. Is she going to get any nicer? No. Is her supervisor going to make her stop harassing me? No. Is she going to fire me? No. But if she doesn't like people, she fires them. Are you sure she won't fire me? It doesn't appear so in anything I am seeing. I have a meeting with her tomorrow. Is she going to fire me then, or should I quit first? Save your money, guys. If obviously you are not going to listen to what we're saying, go buy a 6-pack. Do something.
Yeah.
But do not waste your money and our time.
Exactly. Yeah, because that time is very valuable. How often are they repeat customers, repeat clients? Quite a bit.
For me, I'd say probably about 25 to 35%.
Yeah, that's good.
And that's actually good, because if I do one reading for you in your life and that's all you need, I'm a happy girl. I don't hook people in.
Yeah.
There are some people that have been with me for a very long time. My longest person, Kelly, I started reading her when her daughter was 4. Her daughter is starting her junior year at Penn State this year.
Wow.
But Kelly only comes to me every year, every couple of years.
Yeah.
I have read for her daughter. She trusts me with her daughter, but
that's a family member.
Yes. I don't read generally for people under 18, unless they have skills, they're an indigo child, and you want to talk spiritual, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not entertainment.
Yeah.
The kid doesn't need to know who's going to take her to prom. On the other hand, as a professional, yes, I have several oracle decks as well as my tarot deck, but I also have a children's deck. And there's a very important reason why. If you're at a psychic fair with me and you've got your little daughter Muffin, and Muffin is going, Mommy, 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 want a card, want a card, want a card. And what you do is you say, oh my God, look, can the kid just pull a card, please? Yeah. If all I have is my tarot deck, what if this happens? Look, Muffin, death. No.
Yeah.
So this is a little deck called Cat Wisdom, and it's got cute kitties and puppies, and it's got things like, don't worry with a cute cat. Okay. Now, Muffin could pull from this deck and she would be fine, and then she'd leave us alone, and then I could continue doing a serious reading for her mother.
Yeah.
These are all the little tricks you have to know if you're going to be on the circuit. And for about 18 years, I was on the road 45 weekends a year.
Wow.
45,000 miles a year on the car. My nickname was the Travel Channel. But this is an example of how the universe will do what it needs to do, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
I loved being on the road. I loved being a Hilton Diamond. We are not worthy. But the universe kept saying, there's a lot of overhead. You could do as well at home. Yeah, next year. In the summer of 19, back injury, herniated disc, pinched nerve. Baby, that makes having triplets look like a tea party.
Oof.
Got better, but the docs said, all right, your career is toast. No more loading in, loading out heavy boxes. No more 10 hours in the car, one way. So I scrambled from about October to get all my business online. What happened in March of 2020? the advent of the years of Murder Hornet Bingo and Hold My Beer. Everybody who was still only on the circuit, they tanked, they went bankrupt. Me, I had my business, and I haven't gone back. I do some local shows, maybe an hour and a half away in Saratoga, but this is fine for me now, and it's more comfortable. The overhead is a lot less. I have international clients, and no, somebody from Rio de Janeiro is not going to want to come to upstate New York with the sheep and the cows. They're just not.
No. Yeah.
But the universe had to give me a clue brick upside the head in order for me to see what was best for me. You can't argue.
We got a viewer, Richard, says hello. Always good to hear from Corby.
Oh, he saw me on the Michael Arrington show the other night. Hello, Richard.
How you doing, Richard? Thanks for chiming in. How many you're still doing expos, or you
I do a couple. Like I say, the Mind Body Soul expos in Saratoga, New York are brilliantly run. There's some smaller local shows run by Tiffany Butler that I like doing. I will probably still be doing the one out in Syracuse in February, but that's 2.5 hours. That's as much as I'll go. There was a show last weekend in York, Pennsylvania that I used to adore. It's fabulously run. It's New Visions, but it's a 7-hour drive one way.
Ooh.
And hotel and front person and setup and takedown. And I'm 67. It's a little much.
Yeah. Are there any absolutes that people need if they are going to have a reading?
Mm-hmm. I don't want to say they're absolutes, but you'll have a better reading if. Okay. And in the Psychic Yellow Brick Road, in the second chapter, it's how to prepare for a great psychic session. I give you a mnemonic. What's a mnemonic? Remember, PTA, Parent Teacher Association?
Yeah.
It means it's a word that gives you the stuff. And the word is answer. The first thing is accept your responsibility for your part in the session. No pop quizzes, no comparisons. State your intentions clearly. Widen your horizons. Evaluate the information and then respond to the universe. Now, let's look at that. Let's take a look at the idea of state your intentions clearly. I have people who say, well, I thought you're just supposed to sit in front of the psychic and not say anything. And if she gets stuff, well, then she's good. I'm sorry. You do that to me, that's like trying to climb Everest in sneakers. There's no grip.
Yeah.
When I sit down with you, I want to give you deep dish answers. So I want to know where you want to go. Yes, you may have kids, but if the problem you're having is with your boss, tell me right away, I have a problem with my boss I want to look at. If you don't care about your career, but you're having family dysfunctions, tell me that. If you're starting a new business, tell me that. Because each of these has a deep dish tarot spread. Let's take a look at career. I always ask 3 things. You want to stay where you are, change jobs, or open your own place. Because each of these has a different type of reading. If you want to stay where you are, it's you, your boss's boss, all the way up to whoever is God. The other people who work there, clients, competition, staff, finances, what you need to know.
Yeah.
If you're opening your own business, it's totally different. It's you, the energy around the business, the brick and mortar location, how to market it, clients, competition, staff, finances, what you need to know, and best possible outcome. And when I do that, it's much better for you than flipping a couple of cards and going, wait until October and fire the second redhead. That does what? I want you to leave me with a rocket pack on your back. So I will give you those information. And frankly, I used to be an executive recruiter. I counseled people in six-figure jobs for years. Why shouldn't I be able to help you with that part of my brain as well as the wiki-woo side?
Yeah.
So, but on the other hand, there are times when a card will give me a totally different meaning than normal. The 3 of Pentacles, it usually has a stained glass window and it's a church and you think long-term and mastery. But there was a couple I was reading up in Kitchener, Ontario, and I saw the card and what came out of my mouth was, there is a deconsecrated or abandoned church within about 2.5 miles from here, and there's a cafe bakery there you need to open up. And I'm thinking, they're going to think I'm crazy. But they look at each other, they look at me and go, yeah, we know which one. We've been arguing about it for a year. Okay.
Yeah.
My job is to be the tube it comes through. And if that's
Yeah.
what the universe wanted to tell him, that's what's happening.
Or it's almost like that that shadowed second opinion type thing that comes out from the universe. It's like they, either an individual or a family is thinking about something and they don't know which way to go, which path to take, and then suddenly a complete stranger, they such as yourself, they come and they get a reading, and suddenly, boom, you say something, and they're like, okay, well, that's evidence that this is real. I just lost my skepticism. And
it happens like that with past life readings too. Why do you need to know past lives? You don't need to know all of them, but sometimes one will affect us here.
Yeah.
So a woman came to me and said, look, I'm really worried about my son. He's 29. Won't make any decisions without checking with me first. Won't live more than a mile from me. What the hell? And so I closed my eyes and I went upstairs and said, okay, I'm seeing 1944 Utah Beach. He's on the beach, his legs pretty mangled from shrapnel. You're his commanding officer. You're dragging him over the dunes, to some protection. You take some shrapnel too, but you both get out of there and you live. She looks at me and she says, can you see my rank? I said, yeah, you were a sergeant. She goes, he's called me sergeant since he was 3 years old and we never knew why.
Huh. Wow.
Now, that's the kind of thing I can't make up. Yeah. I had no idea about that thread. But for people who are saying, what am I going to be good at? When the universe taps you on the shoulder, it goes rifling through your internal file cabinet to see what you got. For instance, with me, theater major at Brown University, and I acted in New York in the 80s and 90s. So I understand character arcs, and stories. I am a writer. Words are my drug of choice. I can tell stories. And I have been interested in history since I was a small child in single digits. So you give a vision to me and someone else who is maybe good at past lives, but they don't have my background. They're going to see that vision and go, I know it's old fashioned. I see you in a long skirt and a big hat and you're in front of something very, very ornate. So it's probably Europe. I could see the exact same vision and go, okay, you're in a hobble skirt, that picture hat without ostrich feather, and you're standing in front of the Brandenburg Gate. This is probably Berlin in 1911. But do not ask me to do spirit art because I cannot draw a stick figure with a sharp pencil and a lot of prayer. Not in my wheelhouse.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna ask about bad experiences. Now, and this is a bad experiences on both sides. How? Okay. What's your recommendation for a sitter to get out of a bad experience with a medium, and share one of your experiences with it?
Well, as it's a bad experience for the person I'm reading, or a bad experience for me.
First, for the for the person that's being read on their side.
If they don't want to hear what we have to say. For instance, there was a woman I was reading in Kitchener, a lot of my good stories of Canada, and I saw that she was going to take a boarder in, and then she might want to sell her house and move. And she gets up and she looks at me and she says, you suck. She walks away. Okay, fine. Who's the first person back in my chair the next time I'm in Kitchener? She said, last time I said you sucked. I go, yes, I remember. Because you told me I was going to want to take in a boarder, and then I was going to sell my house, and then I thought that was all bull. But then my daughter moved home because she got pregnant. Now I'm going to sell the house because I want to help raise my grandson. And I still don't like you, but I want to know what else you see. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah. Wow.
There was a girl that I read from Ohio. Her boyfriend had just died a couple of months before, and I try to get people to leave them for 90 days. Let him go up there, drop the personality, get into the full soul. No, she had to talk. And She was so angry at him because he was careless. He got drunk one night and drove into a tree. She figured it was suicide. How dare he? Left her pregnant, blah, 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 blah. Those are very tough because they do not want to hear logic.
Yeah.
They do not want to hear what the pre-birth plan was, nothing. They just want to know that the person on the other side feels horrible and that they're going to go to hell. No, guys, there is no such thing as hell. You know what hell is? Hell is when you do your life review and you have to feel the pain and the grief and the rage that you caused other people to feel.
Yeah.
But
You
then when
become
it's
your
done,
own
it's done.
judge. Yeah. You judge yourself.
That is
Yeah.
exactly right. You and your guides.
And you feel that pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but you do the best you can. That's all we can do. So
What's been the most miraculous reading, an outcome that you saw from a client that just not only changed their life, but when they brought it back to you, you were like, wow, it just changed your life.
It's funny. It didn't. They don't change my life because I know it's not me. I'm just a tool of spirit. But
it warmed you. It made you warm.
I rarely ever do health readings. That's not my wheelhouse. That's my buddy Stacy Wells. Yeah. But I do remember years ago, I was reading a guy and I saw some gray here and I said, you just get your lungs checked or something. I don't know what's going on, but just get it checked.
Ah, we lost her again. Oh, she must be experiencing some. Ah, there she is. She's back.
Yeah, now I know it too. 4 years later, this woman comes back to me.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband had died. What I had seen was the beginning of Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS. But because they caught it really, really early, he had real good life until he went downhill very fast the last couple of weeks. And if I had not told them, hadn't seen it, it would have been a much worse prognosis. So that kind of thing, that warms me. Mm-hmm. And there was one of my promoters wanted to do a soul plane reading with me about something that had ripped her apart for 30 some years. At the end of our session, she was able to release the grief, the guilt, the fear, 36 years of torment gone. Did I do that? No. She did that by listening, accepting what I told her, and moving forward. But that's why I love what I do. I give people the opportunity to change their lives. I don't do it for them, but I can hand them the keys and the books and the recipes, and off they go.
Yeah. It's giving them that toolbox. It's like, hey, here's a couple tools to use, and I'm giving you the permission to do it. And yeah.
I have a small group on Patreon. They're the kids, my nest, Ma Feathers. So it's my nest kids. And watching them blossom as we go through how to do their own readings, guided meditations, new skills that they hadn't had, that's delicious. And it's one of my favorite ways to teach. I know that there are people that charge several hundred thousands of dollars for these things. Oof. I'm not that kind of person. You pay $10 a month and you're in the group and you learn and you're connected with like-minded people. A lot of the people in the nest have become friends with each other. Independent of me. I love that.
Yeah.
That's what we elders have to do now. And Paul, there's a big difference between boomers and elders. Big difference. Everybody says, okay, boomers. Well, an elder realizes that the kids today have it much worse than we did. We never had to worry about being shot in school. We never worried about our neighbor coming to plug us between the eyes because they didn't like our politics or the fact that we got vaccinated. or who we love. We didn't worry that the world would be uninhabitable in our lifetimes. We knew we'd be able to get a job. We knew we'd be able to afford some kind of housing. Kids today have none of that.
Yeah.
So we as elders, we need to give them what information will be useful for them and let them tell us what that is. We have to be what I call third trenchers. In World War I, the front trench was over the top. The second trench was where they slept and maybe the medics, etc. The third trench, supply chain, food, etc. So we elders as third trenchers, we're the ones that help pack the lunches and do the dishes, but we let the millennials and the Gen Zs plan the meals for the homeless. We let them create their new world. It isn't about us anymore. God, people our age are having trouble with that.
Oh, man. Yeah. Hey, Richard says he feels like an elder at 53. So.
Richard, you are. You are. Remember, AARP says you're an elder at 50. Own it.
Oh, yeah, right. I'm not far away. I'm actually starting to get the AARP stuff, so that's scary. The courses and the classes that you're teaching, or the community that you have going on, what's what right now is something that you're working on or teaching? What type of principles?
Oh, it's not a matter of principles. So I say to the kids what do they want to learn. We've had an astrologer in to teach them about the basics. That's my buddy Pat Dumas, who is utterly fabulous. We have learned a lot about reading cards. We have discussed past lives. We've done guided meditations where they've met their own guides. They're learning how to read under different circumstances. I don't always do the readings. I present a situation and they decide which of their decks they're going to use, how many cards they pull, what the card positions are. I am there as a facilitator to give them courage, self-examination, and trust in their own abilities. We are all wired like the same house plan, guys. I'm not special. You can do what I do. In fact, I lost a reality show because I wouldn't let them say I'm so unusual and so unique and nobody can do what I do. I said, that's a lie. That makes my whole life a lie. They shrugged and they went with somebody else who was willing to lie. Okay, fine.
Oof.
Not worth my integrity. Thank you.
Yeah, I've I noticed a lot of people want to seek the advice of a psychic or a medium to I would say ask. It seems like they're always asking for I wouldn't say the wrong things, but just
they want permission.
About that. Yeah.
I love this guy at work. He's married, I'm married, but I know he's my twin flame. Can't we get together? And it's like, oh God. You don't want that karma, darling. You don't. There was one situation years ago. Girl had a mad crush on a local rock group dude who was married, just had a baby. But she was sure she should be with him and was doing everything she could to get there, until I found the past life for her, which showed her that she had tried to do this in the 17th century, the same thing, and what it had cost her. And when she learned about that and accepted it, interestingly, she came to me a few weeks later and said, I don't want him anymore. I'm confused. I said, it's because you got the karmic lesson, so the karmic ties were dropped. He's not yours this time. He wasn't yours that time. Accept it.
Yeah.
So.
What are your thoughts on reincarnation, the group reincarnation theory, that we reincarnate in groups? Or like a family, a spiritual family, so to speak.
It's possible. I know that, one of the things I explained is we have more than one soulmate. They're our core team. And for me, my father was my best friend. He and I shared the same birthday. We were both March babies. And I dedicated my first book to him. And when you look at us, let me see, there we go.
Okay.
That's who we were together.
Yeah.
The thing is, he usually comes in as my best friend. We're usually contemporaries. But this time I knew that my pre-birth plan, I had laid out some pretty tough stuff for myself. And I would need a best friend as a father. So my soul asked his soul, would he be willing to do the parent-child monad, as they say? And so, yes. Now, my mother, who I had terrible dysfunction with, she and I have never had karma before together. She's always hanging out with dad, though.
Huh.
So that's how we got all tied together.
Yeah.
People, when they hear about reincarnation, they always ask about, well, then what about free will? And the way I try to explain it is college. Let's say that you're going to Brown University and you're getting a degree in biomedical ethics. Cool. That's your pre-birth plan. Whether you get out of there just taking gut courses or you do double major plus lab, that's your free will. Either way, you're going to graduate with that degree, but how hard are you going to make it for yourself?
Mm. Yeah.
And for everybody that says, but the Bible says we only live once, I say, you know what? You are correct. Because it is our soul that keeps coming back over and over again. Paul, Corby, we are one and done. We get one shot down here of this particular recipe.
Yeah.
The way I try to explain it to people, if they're still not getting it, is I say, okay, let's take the actor Matt Smith. Matt was the 11th Doctor on Doctor Who. He was my doctor, the crazy best friend. But when he was done, he hung up the bow tie and the suspenders. And then he flipped over to become Prince Philip in The Crown. And after he was done with that, he hung up the Prince Philip suit. And now he's in House of the Dragon or whatever that is, the Game of Thrones spinoff. 3 different people played by one person. The 3 different people are like incarnations. Matt Smith is like the soul that chooses what to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
I talk a lot in allegories because people need the pictures.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I try to send emails like that at work. I have to be so descriptive of telling people where to find something in particular or doing this.
Tab A into slot B, yeah.
Cross the I's or or sometimes it's the other way around. Sometimes you can't cross the T's. You got to dot the T's and cross the I's.
Yes, I know.
You have. Let's see. Yeah, you gave me a lot of stuff to choose from here.
That's because I've worked with a lot of rookie podcasters who do not know how to ask questions, so I give them all this. And then
and then sometimes I'm like, just stuff just comes right on, and I'm like, yeah, what about this?
That's perfectly fine.
Yeah. And we got a Joe. Joe says hello, Ulachi. Hello, Joe. Thanks for watching. And so, what's new? What's coming up? You got any new projects, new books, new stories, new expos, new projects?
Well, let's see. September, October tends to get busy. The first weekend in September, I am up in Saratoga at the Civic City Center. In October, I am at the Saratoga County Fairgrounds for the Witch Walk on the 8th. And then on the 9th, it is at the Gideon Putnam. As far as writing goes, I'm doing a lot of my writing on medium.com. My skill is in nonfiction. And my books were all put together finding families of blogs that I had written. And then we would craft it kind of the way you'd put clay on a wire sculpture when you're going to cast it. So on Medium, I've got like 150 blogs at this point, but I don't charge. I know a lot of people put up the thing where you have to pay to be part of Medium in order to read it, and they get a cut. I'm sorry, the information needs to get out there. There are other places I can make the money. So medium.com, look for Corby Mitleid, and you will find out all the stuff I'm doing. I am discussing what I'm referring to as the dark that's coming. I do discuss technique stuff there, how to do tarot readings, certain crystals, how to work with a psychic. It's all there. But at this point, I'm kind of helping to raise the next generation in terms of newer intuitives. And I'm watching what's coming down the pipe. Look, guys, in order for the world to change the way it needs to, you have to break it down first. Red Sox want to build a new stadium. They got to blow up Fenway and clear the ground.
Yeah.
So, yeah, things are going to get really bad. And I will not live to see the end of it because I'm 67. And it's going to take some decades. But y'all, it gets better from here. But that's why my third act, if you will, healing, feeding them, holding up the light. I mean, you know, going back to Doctor Who, but I'm going in the 10th Doctor with his companion Martha, who, when the Master was running the world and it was so dark, she would go around and remind people that the Doctor was still there.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the kind of thing that I'm going to end up doing. And from what I understand, my soul does tend to come in at the end of things. I was a White Rose Yorkist in the Wars of the Roses. They lost. I was a German pilot in World War I. They lost. And I'm an American watching the country tank and burn itself all to hell. But you volunteer to be here. You can't have a pity party over it.
True.
If I wasn't supposed to make a difference down here for someone, I wouldn't be incarnated at this point.
Yeah. You want to share any details of the darkness that's coming?
Not really. It's just you look at the haves versus have-nots. You look at the anti-science, forced birth, lockstep Republicans, Trumpers. That's a hard group to stop.
Yeah.
We didn't. And there's a guy who writes on Medium, his name is Usman, and he points out that this is who America's been for a long time. We disenfranchise each other. It's all about how many people we can climb on top of to get what we want.
Yeah.
The rich get away with everything. I mean, in the bill that just got passed, the billionaires are not going to pay 1 penny more in tax. Most of them do not pay any tax at all. They know how to do the loopholes. And you can't run a country without money. So, you know, and the Republicans have made it very clear. They want to destroy Medicare and Social Security. What's that going to do for the millions of older adults? There will be a lot of people who will be, it's going to be like 1930s, tent cities, scrabbling for food, especially with climate change also making that worse. So, yeah, Joe, exactly.
Yeah.
The pendulum right now is swinging toward the dark. It will swing back toward the light, but it's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
And that's why I talk about the glurpy purple with angels. I can't do that. I am too old to be a warrior. It's no longer my job, but I'll support those who are.
Yeah. I feel more as a teacher. I've been a teacher in a lot of my past lives, either a teacher, a priest, a lot of priests, shamans, and I'd rather be a teacher. I am that leader. I have that leading, and I've always had that leading aspect. But at the same time, too, it's like I want to teach people and help lead people, because everybody's a leader. Everybody's a leader, and everybody's a follower.
Sure.
We're both. We're we got that duality going on.
We do.
And we got to choose which one are we going to do, but what do you want people to take away tonight for our show? I can't believe it's almost an hour. Shoot, it's like goes by
What
so
I want them
quick.
to take away. Well, of
Yeah.
course, go buy the book, please.
Yes.
And if you do, what I'm going to say is here, if you do, please write a review on Amazon. I'm self-published. And until you have 50 reviews, they stick you on the back shelf behind the pickles, and nobody will know you're there unless they go specifically looking. So write the review. You can do what I do if you want to. The best book for that, the way I started learning, is called Opening to Channel by Sanaya Roman and Dwayne Packer. It's still around. Psychics are not in my family. I'm the first. So I had to teach myself. Realize that when you do this work, you do it not so that you can go, my aura don't stink. You do it in service. The universe is saying, I need you to help make this place a little better. And when you say yes, the universe never forgets you said yes. Things may get a little rougher for you, as all of a sudden the things that you kind of didn't look at come up for examination. But once they're clear, life gets really good. You will get to get up in the morning, not have to get up in the morning. That's a big difference.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And this just came to mind too. I wanted to ask you about is I've noticed there's a lot of procrastinators. I mean, we're all guilty of procrastination, but either have you noticed people coming to you for a reading and then they walk away and they come back later, asking for more advice, but then you learn that they didn't exactly move forward and take advantage of the
that happens.
It's like
when you come to me with the same questions 3 times in a row, whether it's 3 months or 3 years, and I know I'm telling you the same thing and you're not listening, I will be like a good bartender and cut you off. You're wasting your money and my time.
Exactly. No more shots.
Nope.
Yeah. At the same time too, it's like I don't know what they're afraid of. Is it they're afraid of making that leap, or is and that
they're
depends
stuck
on what
in their
is.
story.
Yeah.
They're stuck in their story. Living the examined life. This is happening and I don't want it to happen, but I have to deal with it. How do I learn from it? For me, how do I teach with it? Next. I've done the cancer dance 3 times, but I do not introduce myself. Hi, I'm Corby Mitleid. I had breast cancer.
Yeah.
That was then. This is now. I used to be the Betty Crocker homemaker of tomorrow for New Jersey in 1973. I don't introduce myself that way either. I have moved on.
Yeah.
So ask yourself if you're getting stuck in your story and who you'd like to be if you weren't.
And changing our story. I mean, if we're not happy with our story, we have the power to do that. And
well, our story is always changing because we are always living.
Yeah.
You don't have to put the same book cover on the current book.
Absolutely. And speaking of books, for all our listeners and viewers out there, please go out and check out Corby Mitleid book. There you go. The Psychic Yellow Brick Road, How to Find the Real Wizards and Avoid the Flying Monkeys. Were you a fan of Wizard of Oz?
I enjoyed it, but a bunch of us were playing around with the title that we wanted. Titles are so important. Clean out your life closet. You've got the magic. Who needs a genie? Titles that will jump off the shelf, not 57 ways to do blah. Everybody's got those.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yellow brick. Not the. Well, I always use the Yellow Brick Road in a lot. That phrase a lot of times comes up in a lot of my lectures, and it's like subliminally. I don't even. Some of my I just did one this past weekend in Casadega, The sister of up in Lilydale, and I think that came up in that speech. I don't remember, but I'll write all this stuff up, and I end up not even using it. And Yellow Brick Road always comes up in a lot of my lectures, and
it's
I
because it
find
is
that
a universal picture that people know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but well, Corby, it's been a wonderful, wonderful evening, and it's been an honor to have you on the show. Did someone else chime in? Yeah, we got a couple minutes here. Auto scroll. There we go. Richard, us old souls don't always handle change well. Yeah, yeah. Oh, how many? When it comes to old souls, when it comes to reincarnation and past lives, do you I don't think there's like a very specific number, but in general,
Nope. There is no general number.
there's no general
Some
number.
souls really love the human experience. They keep
Yeah.
bouncing down and bouncing down and bouncing down. Some
Yeah.
of them, they have a life. They go up for 200-300 years of our time. Up there, there's no time. And they chew on it, and then they come back down.
Yeah.
So someone with 78 past lives is not better than someone with 42 past lives. This is not a game of Monopoly, guys.
Yeah.
And am I an old soul? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Have you had any experience with walk-ins?
Yeah,
Anybody
I haven't. I'm not one, but yes, I've had 2 or 3 clients that were walk-ins, and it was usually they died on the table in an operating room, and they came back very differently. Friend of mine actually, she was a heart-lung transplant patient, and her personality really shifted after she had the heart-lung transplant. Her taste change. This was someone who never drank. After this, she loved beer. She got the heart and lung from an 18-year-old kid who died in an accident.
Yeah.
So in that sense, I think there was a personality overlay as well.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, the reason I asked that, I think I've asked it in one of my other past shows, but the reason I'm asking that now is within the last couple weeks, I was offered, I was channeling, and I was it was channeling with some of the ascended masters, some of my spirits and stuff, and it was like they presented this opportunity for a walk-in to leave and go, kind of like a switch, like, hey, I'll switch bodies. And I'm thinking, I'm like, I'm pretty happy where I'm at. But then at the same time, it's like, well, we're gonna give you time to choose. You know, this is not like a final answer. There's no yes or no right now. It's just we're gonna give you time. I'm going, oh crap, how much time are you giving me? And I said no. But I don't know what to make of it. It's like, wow.
I have never heard of someone being given a choice.
Yeah.
Usually
like,
all of that, because you're the personality.
Yeah.
The decision about being walk-in is usually done between the 2 souls.
Yep.
And, you know, we're just kind of blank. So that's why these things happen without a knowledge or a foreplay.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You might
Yeah, it
be
was
a
almost
person.
as though, yeah, it was almost as though that there was a particular point that I didn't, you know, my soul right now didn't have to move forward in whatever I was going on right now and moving forward with it. That there was something happening in the web of all the stuff going on in the universe, and another soul there was that option of that soul coming in because there was something to learn. I'm going, okay, well, I understand that, but couldn't they just start over? You know, start from birth. But I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I was going to take notes and record it because it was actually a verbal conversation. I was having this verbal conversation with them.
You may be a first. I think you should write it down.
Yeah. So I'm like, how much time do I got? Yeah. But I'll let you know if I get some more information on it. I'll let you know. Maybe I'll record the conversation.
I'd be interested.
Yeah. Yeah. But well, we are out of time, and once again, Corby, thank you very much. Honored to be on the for you to be on the show with us tonight. And for everybody who's watching and going to be listening, please subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. These weekly seance shows are live. Don't forget about that. And if, depending on the show, if you want a reading or want to interact with the guest, you can call the 407-636-1157. And don't forget, you can listen to this also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Libsyn, and soon to be Apple Podcast. Other than that, thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see y'all next week. Y'all have a good night. Thank you.